Hey Canada, I'm Jon Montgomery. I'm reimagining classic recipes with bold Canadian ingredients and sharing the stories behind our iconic food. Ready to celebrate our culinary heritage? This is Savour the North. Before I ever moved out from underneath my parents' roof, I had to be able to cook one thing. That one thing was Mama's meatloaf. Of course! Mom! Meatloaf!
No movie quote, John.
Production says we're not doing movie quotes. So, moving on. That recipe was an integral part of my stepping out into the big, wide, slightly terrifying world. When I travel, no matter where I am in the world, when I have meatloaf, oh, it's like a warm embrace from home. This one is for you, Mama. We're cooking Ketchup Meatloaf Cups. Roll up your sleeves, take a quick stock of the pantry. If there's things that you need, now would be a good time to skip out
to your local Canadian-owned grocery store, and ideally a family-run operation like Vince's Market, who's been supporting local farmers and food producers since 1956. And while you're there, look for that little maple leaf, because we all know it means an awful lot.
You ready to go? I am. Canadian beef, baby. What we're starting with is egg.
Followed by onions, garlic, and breadcrumbs with salt and pepper.
Kapow. And for the piece de resistance, Heinz Ketchup. Right there, that maple leaf, that's what we're looking for on our products. Best way to get ketchup into anything? Oh.
Heinz Ketchup's Canadian journey started way back in 1909, rooted in Leamington, Ontario, a small town with some big tomato dreams. Today, that dream continues with passionate tomato pros like Kelsey, a Heinz tomato breeding expert in Leamington, and Angelina, a ketchup expert working out of the Heinz Ketchup plant in Mount Royal, Quebec. Angelina is on her way to earning the coveted title of Tomato Ketchup Master. That's not a thing.
A Heinz Ketchup Master is a thing. What's called a TKM, a Tomato Ketchup Master. My personal goal is to be Mount Royal's TKM.
What exactly is a Tomato Ketchup Master? It's someone who masters every detail, from hand-picking perfect tomatoes to overseeing the exact art and science behind Heinz iconic ketchup.
It's a journey, but it's a journey that I'm on, and I hope to get there.
And a tasty journey it is. Great ketchup begins with tomatoes tough enough to thrive in Canada's challenging climate, which is Kelsey's key focus.
When I'm at a barbecue with friends, I'm the first person to pull out the Heinz ketchup and be like, my tomatoes are in here.
Each year, Kelsey meticulously breeds over 300 new tomato varieties, but only a handful endure Heinz rigorous 4-year testing to earn a spot in their prestigious seed catalog.
I think Heinz seeds are the best seeds. Our process is so rigorous. Canadian seeds are special because they represent a resiliency. Just like a Canadian tomato grown for Heinz needs to be very resilient.
Kelsey carefully breeds Heinz seeds for optimal flavor, vibrant color, and resiliency to environmental factors.
To make it into a bottle of Heinz ketchup, tomatoes have to be the best of the best. I kind of treat them like my children. They're unique individuals. It's difficult not to get very attached to the tomato varieties.
Heinz remains proudly connected to Ontario agriculture, being the largest purchaser of locally grown tomatoes. Each bottle of ketchup traces directly back to the hardworking Canadian farms that grow them.
It feels like it's your baby when you see the Heinz Ketchup with the maple leaf and you say, I'm Canadian, I worked on that. It's a really great warm feeling inside.
So, the next time you grab that iconic bottle, remember, Heinz has enlisted dedicated experts and passionate masters to grow the tomatoes that make their ketchup uniquely Canadian. And with that sweet, tangy, tomatoey Heinz Ketchup mixed into our meatloaf,
let's get our hands dirty and dig in. Oh, there it goes. Once you've got your pre-greased pan, take it out, a nice big helping. Make a ball, and then a little plop and smush. Moving on to the sweet and tangy ketchup glaze. Gonna start.
Add about a half a cup of Heinz ketchup, sweeten the deal with some brown sugar, and a wee splash of Worcestershire.
This is gonna be a delicious glaze even if you don't know the name of that last ingredient. Okay. Scoop, swirl around. Scoop, swirl around. This dish is ready for the oven, going in at 350. Growing up on the prairies, potatoes were a part of every meal. As my mom would call them, potatoes. We're not gonna do that today because that's just absolutely crazy. So we're gonna call them potatoes like they are. Actually, we'll call them potatoes for mom's sake.
And once you've buttered up your potatoes, continue with salt, pepper, and cream so you can mash it up in preparation for the piping bag.
As a person of Scottish heritage, piping comes naturally to me. I'm not sure if you can tell or not, but I've never actually piped anything in my life. I was lying. Oh yeah, there it goes. Gonna top those off with a little bit of bacon bits, a little bit of green onion.
And just like that, our beautiful Ketchup Meatloaf Cups are ready to roll. and it's time to move on to the next course.
Growing up, tacos was hands down my favorite food. I'm a Vancouver Island boy now, and so fish tacos is what it's all about. There's nothing better than going to Tofino in the summertime and having fish tacos on the beach. This recipe is inspired by that feeling. We're making lemon pepper sole bao bun tacos. That's right, lemon pepper sole bao bun tacos, and you're gonna need this list of ingredients. Save production cost on that sound effect, I made it myself. We're gonna start with the crema. The base is sour cream.
But we toss in our chopped green onion, a dollop of mayonnaise, and a pinch of salt with some cracked pepper. Give it a gentle stir, and our dreamy crema is ready to dazzle.
And now for the star of our taco.
Highliner lemon pepper pan-sear sole.
It's been said, and I'll admit it kind of hurt my feeling, that gingers don't have a soul. Well, I'm here today to tell you this ginger does have a soul. Woo-wee, listen to it sizzle. This sole is flaky and perfectly seasoned, and what makes it even better is where it comes from.
Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, where back in 1899, 5 ambitious brothers did something very Canadian. They started a fish company, a humble little dockside operation that would eventually scale up to become one of Canada's most iconic household brands.
So Highliner actually started over 125 years ago, and they started off as a small fishery.
Fast forward to the 1950s, they moved from dockside to dinner table, launching a revolutionary invention that forever changed Canadian cuisine.
The fish stick really just became a real Canadian icon.
Crispy, golden seafood magic. Fish sticks took Canada by storm, catapulting Highliner into decades of unstoppable success. Well, almost unstoppable. Cue 1992 and the infamous cod moratorium, shaking Canada's seafood industry to its core. But Highliner saw an opportunity to strengthen their commitment to sustainability and innovation. They boldly sold off their fishing boats and shifted from harvesting locally to sourcing responsibly across the globe, significantly expanding their seafood lineup. It wasn't just a pivot, it was a full-on 180 in rubber boots.
Sustainability is really one of the core principles of Highliner Foods. For us, it is really about ensuring that there's an adequate supply of seafood for future generations, whether it's salmon, shrimp, haddock, tilapia, fish sticks.
And where does today's seafood wizardry happen? In the epicenter of innovation, the Product Development Kitchen, or as insiders like to call it,
the Product Development Kitchen is the kitchen of the party. It's where everybody wants to be.
A place where scientists, chefs, and an actual bona fide flamethrower comes together to craft seafood perfection. And the only thing better than crafting new recipes is the job perks.
We go out to restaurants and look at what's showing up on fine dining menus.
Hold on, you get paid to hang out in restaurants?
Absolutely.
How do I sign up for this gig?
Just apply.
And I get to use the flamethrower? I'm sold.
What I love about this team the most is that we have culinary and food science working together on a team. Just because something tastes good doesn't mean you can manufacture it in large scale. So we actually get to marry the two together.
But there is one burning question I absolutely must ask. Who exactly is Captain Highliner?
Captain Highliner for me is just an everyday Canadian. He's just someone who's looking for high quality, tasty products and has high standards.
And it's a result of those high standards that after 125 years, Highliner and their legendary captain are still sailing strong, still Canadian, still committed to responsible sourcing, delivering seafood that's as delicious as it is convenient.
Now that we've got our bao buns freshly steamed, let's build ourselves a taco. Starting with, our beautiful crema.
Then layer on our perfectly flaky lemon pepper sole, follow with crisp, thinly sliced cucumbers, vibrant shredded carrots, pickled radish, crunchy purple cabbage, and finish it off with a sprinkle of fresh cilantro.
All right, now that our lemon pepper sao bun bowl, lemon pepper sao, well, that's a wrap on our lemon pepper soul sao. Let's and go. It's gonna be awesome. We're doing a dessert that couldn't be more Canadian, even if it tried. What am I talking about? The Nanaimo Bar. Invented in and named after the small BC town north of where I now call home on Vancouver Island, this deconstructed Nanaimo Bar is gonna be paired with fresh Canadian-made ice cream. Ooh la la, it's gonna be magnifico. The base of our deconstructed Nanaimo Bar
is being made with crushed almonds, coconut, sugar, cocoa powder, and graham cracker crumbs. Mix it all together and then add your melted, unsalted butter to complete this sweet symphony.
Once it's got the consistency of that sand on the beach in Nanaimo, BC, it's ready for transfer. Spread it out. Oh, this crumble's gonna be fantastic.
And now, the custom custard. Gently heat that cream, whisk the sugar, vanilla, and silky egg yolks until perfectly smooth. Slowly blend in the warm cream, but take it easy, no curdling. Then gently heat until it's thick, creamy, and irresistible. Now we're ready for the star of the show.
Kawartha Dairy Nanaimo Bar ice cream. Let's let this breathe just for a second. Whee! Starting off with the crumble in the bottom of your sundae cup. And for our ice cream,
I'm using Kawartha Dairy, not only because it's ridiculously delicious and made with fresh local milk, but also because I just like their story. Before Kawartha Dairy was serving up moose tracks and mint chipped by the scoopful, it was just Jack and Isla Crow, a pair of small-town legends with a milk route, a horse-drawn wagon, and old-fashioned refrigeration.
I mean, back in the old days, they didn't have modern refrigeration, so we kept our milk cold with ice cut directly from the lake. And delivery wasn't horse and sleigh. My first job here was scooping ice into bags to sell to fishermen to keep their beer cold on the lake.
But long before Brian was cooling down cold ones on the lake, Jack and Isla were heating things up in true small-town style by building Kawartha Dairy's factory right next door to their own home. Talk about the ultimate Canadian commute.
The company back then was small. It was family. It was actually hard to tell when you walked around the company who was family and who wasn't, because everybody felt like family.
In the 1950s, Jack had a dream, and also a lot of cream. So he went off to dairy school and came back with a big idea: ice cream.
I think his big question was, well, I've got this cream and it's worth something. And this is where he ended up going to the Ontario Agricultural College, learned how to make ice cream from their school there, and then got into it here. Grandpa loved making milk and ice cream.
And everyone else loved eating it, which is why Kawartha Dairy ice cream became a Canadian rite of passage. And today, it's still in Bobcaygeon, still Crow family owned, and still made the old school way. Fresh dairy, minimal processing, no shortcuts.
We're one of the last ice cream companies that still receives milk and cream directly from the farm.
And blended into all that farm fresh milk is a delicious lineup of flavors ready to delight every taste bud imaginable.
I like vanilla.
The head of product development likes vanilla?
And everyone looks at me like I'm crazy, but everything starts with vanilla. And it's like the building block of ice cream in my mind.
From ice blocks keeping the dairy chilled to vanilla building blocks of deliciousness, sleigh rides in the snow to over 50 rich and creamy flavors, Kawartha Dairy has kept it 100% Canadian, 100% family, and 100% delicious for nearly a century.
We've been able to continue to run this company with small town, family-based values almost 90 years later.
Kawartha Dairy, built on cream, a dream, and apparently a whole lot of vanilla. But for me, it's their Nanaimo bar flavor that gets drizzled in our custom custard. Topped off with decadent chocolate ganache, irresistible Nanaimo chunks, a sprinkle of coconut, and a fresh mint flourish. And with that, our deconstructed Nanaimo Bar Sundae perfectly caps off our three-course masterpiece. When you know the story behind the food on your plate, every bite just tastes better.
so good!
Because these aren't just ingredients. They're the passion, dedication, and creativity of hardworking Canadians making our meals more memorable.
Perfect.
It's the craftsmanship in every drop of Heinz Ketchup, generations of Atlantic pride woven into Highliner seafood selections, and the creamy magic churned into Kawartha Dairy's ice cream. Supporting Canadian products isn't just good eating. It's standing behind the people who fill our tables with flavors and heart. Thanks for joining me in honoring these delicious traditions. Keep tasting, keep appreciating, keep choosing Canada.